Hey there, everybody. Mandy here, and this is probably my fourth or fifth live on my personal page. And um, I just wanted to kind of come to you about something a little personal because, well, it's very personal actually. And I find myself talking to a lot of women with the same issues, and especially here lately because I think with my blog growing, with our Facebook group growing, we find ourselves talking about this a lot more. Let me share this to my group really fast. And since I'm talking about my group, it's called Being More Than Just a Mom. So if, okay, there we go. Sorry. I can't do two things at once. So, it's called Being More Than Just a Mom, and it's just somewhere where we can come together and just kind of talk about motherhood and the struggles, the rewarding part, all of it, because all of us need somebody that we can talk to about this, this motherhood that we're going through. We all want it, want to do it the best that we can. So it's just a community where we can come together and we can do that. So I will share that link below later after this is done, or either you can go to my cover photo, you can click on it and the link is right there. So you're more than welcome to come with us and be a part of it. But these Facebook Lives are really hard for me. Speaking of fears, this is a fear of mine. These Facebook Lives are a fear of mine. It doesn't matter if I was in the performing arts profession for a long time, and it never got me ready to do this for some reason. But I feel there's a calling, and I feel like there's a pull for me to start talking about this, because this is something that I definitely have struggled with over the years. It's something that I have definitely had to really kind of deal with, and all of us are onions, and we just have to peel that layer after layer off and discover a lot more about ourselves as we keep going. So if you are here now live, thank you for being here and for supporting me. And also, if you're here on the replay, share this with somebody if you feel the need to share it, because I think all of us moms, or all of us in general, whether you're a mom or not, sometimes need to hear these things and to know that you're not alone in this journey. You're not alone. If you have fear and anxiety, you're seriously not alone. And I really want to help, or to share my experience and hope that it will help somebody. So these are 4 tips that will flip fear on its rear. And before we get a little bit more into that, let me just introduce myself for those of you who do not know me, especially I did just share it into my group too. So those of you that don't know me there, I am Amanda Middleton, but my friends and family call me Mandy, so please call me Mandy. I am the mommy mentor, giving you permission to be more than just a mom, so you can feel fit, energized, and empowered every day, and finally drop the stinking mom guilt. Because, whenever you start trying to do something for yourself, you start feeling really guilty. So I really feel a big call and a big pull to really help those moms get to that place. So going back to the task at hand today. So 4 tips to flip fear on its rear. If you have read my blog for any amount of time, or if you've just seen me on social media any amount of time, I talk a lot about fear. I talk a lot about anxiety. Because I have dealt with it. I've walked in it, and I know what it feels like. It's a very hard place to be, and whenever you go whenever you're dealing with fear, you go down that little rabbit hole. And every turn that you go, I mean, there's anxiety, there's self-doubt, it just brings on all these different emotions. And it's really a hard place to be. And, I found myself at a crossroads several times of, okay, I've got to do something about this. And these tips are not going to work if you don't put in the work. You've got to put in the work. If you want to get rid of this fear and anxiety that you've got, just like with anything, you've got to put in the work. And if you don't put in the work or the time, you won't be able to conquer this. But I believe that, health in general doesn't just come from the physical. It comes from the mental and the spiritual. So for you to be able to lose, those extra pounds or whatever, you've got to start inward. And it's just like peeling away an onion. All of us are onions, and then you start peeling away layer by layer by layer. And you're always going to be peeling back those layers, and because it's a journey. And you want to better yourself every single day. So anyway, 4 tips to flip fear on its rear. So number 1, speak life over yourself. Stop with the negative self-talk. It's such a simple thing. Stop with the negativity. And I know, especially for women, it's so easy to be able to look into the mirror and find every flaw that you've got. You find everything that's wrong and everything that you would like to fix. Stop all that. Just stop. Every time you have something negative to say, try your hardest to flip it around and say something positive. And I know that sounds cheesy, and I know that you're like, yeah, that's easier said than done. And it is. It's easier said than done because it becomes a habit. And that's a habit that you have to break. If you don't break it, then you're self-sabotaging yourself, and you are going to live in fear. And you might as well just hang it up and know that that's what is going to happen. But it doesn't have to be like that. Flip it around, flip it on its rear, and take that negativity, turn it into something positive. If you have read my blog, or if you have been around for any amount of time, you probably heard me talk about sticky notes. I have them always around. And I put encouraging words to myself. Now I can't find my sticky notes, but you know what sticky notes look like. I always find encouraging those negative words that I have, I flip it around, I find something positive, and then I write it down so I'll remember it. And then I'll stick it on the mirror, I'll stick it on my calendar, I'll stick it wherever I need to so I can read that, repeat it in my head, or even repeat it through my lips. So I'm speaking life for myself. Number 2, find a partner to help you believe or have faith when you can't. We all get to that point where, we're so far down in that hole. We really need people to help us. We really need people to pray for us, to give us encouraging words, to speak that life over us whenever we physically cannot. And we've all been in that place before. Whether it's your spouse, whether it's your best friend, whether it's your sister, your mother, whether it's a prayer partner, whoever, find that person that's going to encourage you. Find that person that is going to speak life over you, pray for you, that person that's going to encourage you. Everybody, no matter how tough they are, they need encouragement. And when you don't get that encouragement whenever you need it the most, it's hard. So find that partner, find that person that can hold you accountable. Whenever I was at my lowest, I talk about my sticky notes again. Whenever I was at my lowest, I know my husband was that for me. He would write, encouraging words for me on sticky notes, or he'd write a Bible verse, or he would write whatever, came to mind for him that he knew that I was struggling with. He wrote something encouraging. We still do that for each other because that is something that, we all need, no matter what stage and no matter what season you're in, we all need it. So, number 2, find a partner that can encourage you, that can pray for you, that can speak life over you whenever you can't. Somebody that can hold you accountable. Number 3, this one is the hardest sometimes, especially whenever you're going through it at the time. It's very hard. But find the lesson in the journey, because usually, God's taken you through something. Or it's not even part of his plan. It's just part of the journey that you're on. And just find the lesson in it and stop beating yourself up over it if you felt like it was the wrong thing to do, and move forward. I mean, that's about all you can do. Hey, Jennifer. I see people are hopping on now. I probably didn't give y'all enough time to hop on, but my boys were actually quiet for a second, so I figured I should just keep on moving. But this one's probably the hardest. It's, you have to find the lesson in every journey that you go through. And, that's very hard whenever you're going through it. And number 4, and this, I don't know. This one's probably the hardest. This one's actually the hardest for me. Number 4, do something fearful at least 2 to 3 times a week. I always say that, with just about anything, I mean, whether it's fitness or whether it's, whatever it is, every other day. If you can't commit to every day, then do every other day, because that's a little bit more realistic. Do something fearful at least 2 to 3 times a week. And I'm not saying jump from an airplane or do anything crazy like that. I'm talking about just in your everyday life. I can tell you right now, just like I said at the very beginning of this live video, I was in the performing arts industry for several years, and that never prepared me for doing a Facebook Live. Being in the performing arts industry never prepared me to totally be vulnerable to people on Facebook Live. And so this was a fear of mine. I had to conquer, and I did conquer it the first time. Then I conquered it the second. Then I conquered it the third, and we're on to the 4th or 5th. But every time it's still fearful for me for some reason. I don't know, but it's just one of those. But I know my goal, I know my calling, and I know why I'm doing this, and I'm doing this to help other people. So to be able to spread that word, I have to conquer a fear. And whenever you have fears, think about all those things. If those fears held you back from doing something in particular, what is it holding back for other people too? You could make such an impression on their life, but you would never know if you didn't do it because of fear. You would never know if you got that promotion or not because you didn't press forward because of fear. Or you will never know, so many things. It's just so many things that it could stifle if you live in fear all the time. So just kind of recapping here, 4 tips to flip fear on its rear. Number 1, speak life. Speak life over yourself. Be the light. Don't be the darkness. Speak positive and kind words about yourself. I think as women, as moms especially, we find a way to say sweet, sweet things to other people, but whenever it comes to ourselves, we have a really hard time doing that. Stop that. Do the same for yourself that you would do for your kids, or do the same for yourself that you would do for your best friend. Speak that life over yourself as well. Number 2, find a partner to help you believe or have faith whenever you can't. So whenever you can't speak that life, find that person that can, and that can be your encourager, and that can be that person for you. Because we all get to that point where we can't do that someday. So be that, find that person. Number 3, find the lesson in the journey. Sometimes that's hard to do whenever you are going through it, but try really hard to find that lesson and learn from it and move forward. Don't let it hold you back. Push forward. There's been so many times in my life where I've let that hold me back, and it just sent me down a rabbit trail, really, of anxiety and self-doubt, and that is not the place that you want to be. And number 4, probably the most important thing, is do something fearful at least 2 to 3 times a week or every other day. Whether it's doing a Facebook Live, whether it's sharing your story, whether it's talking to a stranger about things that you've been through, whether it's praying for somebody, whether it's, something so small to you may be so big for your journey, maybe so big for your future, and it may be so big to somebody else. So by you holding yourself back from being fearful, it's not doing anybody favors, and especially you. So I know some of you hopped on, but I know there's a lot of you that will probably watch this replay. Like I said, if you would share it with somebody that's going through the same thing, because I know whenever you're going through fear, anxiety, self-doubt, sometimes you feel like you are alone in that situation, and you're not. You're so not alone. A lot of us deal with it. A lot of us, have dealt with it in our lives. So, so share it with your friends, your family, whoever you feel like it could help. And if you drop in on the replay, please say hello. Say, hey, Mandy, something, just so I know that you were there and I can give you a little shout out back. And like I said, if you would like to join my mommy group on Facebook, Being More Than Just a Mom, you can click on my cover photo. It will take you to a link and then ask to join through there. And we would love to have you, where we encourage each other. We share fitness tips. We share family, kids tips, all kinds of stuff. So, and it's just a group where you know that you're never alone in the journey. Also, you can find me on my website, which is amandamiddleton.me. And I would love to see you there. So until next time, I will see you then. Thanks, y'all.